Welcome to Cosmic Roadmap. I'm your host, Melissa Lambor, Reiki Astrogeoguide and best-selling author. Have you ever wondered where in the world you should be? This podcast is about bridging cultures and helping the endless wanderer find their purpose and place in the world. Hear stories from digital nomads, avid travelers, and aspiring globetrotters, and learn how they discovered where they were destined to be and build their legacy. If you're curious about astrogeography and where you're meant to be on the planet, go to cosmicroadmap.com to download your free passport to purpose. Welcome to the second season of Cosmic Roadmap. I'm coming at you from Bali, Indonesia. I'm your host, Melissa Lambor. My special guest today is Naomi Velasquez. She is a manifestation expert, spiritual teacher with 5+ years of experience in spiritual and cosmic manifestation coaching. She is a highly sought after manifestation coach and is widely regarded for her unique manifestation approach, combining spirituality, astrology, human design, and tarot to help her clients and students achieve complete alignment and sovereignty as they manifest their dream lives. Through years of experience in leadership, team management, and mentoring, along with her extensive background in emotional healing, energetic alignment, and spiritual life coaching, Naomi fuses her unique experience to lead women to the fullest embodiment of their alignment, power, and potential. Naomi has helped hundreds of clients and students manifest miracles with her private coaching, group programs, and powerful moon rituals that she's been holding since 2019. So we met through a mutual friend, Michelle Badagliaca, who happened to be my very first guest on this podcast, and I had the pleasure of guiding Naomi through her astro maps before embarking on a pivotal trip to Peru. Welcome. How has life been since our session, December 30th of 2021? It's crazy to think that much time has passed.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even feel like time has passed, but it was a while ago, and life has completely changed. Like everything about my life is different. Like I live in a new country, I'm married, I'm more embodied in my purpose work. So after when we met, I remember we talked about 3 locations. It was like Italy, Peru, and Egypt. Italy because I had been there and I loved it. Peru because I was going. I left to Italy.
Right.
I'm sorry, to Peru January 2nd. So legit 3 days right after we met, I came to Peru to do ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And man, did my whole life change. I was coming for my spiritual healing, spiritual journey, getting insight and clarity. And right after my ayahuasca journeys, I went on this tour. And it's funny because this is how the universe works, right? Like I came to Peru with my whole itinerary. Like I'm doing ayahuasca and then I'm going to go see Machu Picchu and the Sacred Valley. That's it. But from the second I landed in Cusco, the taxi driver was like, "Have you heard of Rainbow Mountain?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have. Isn't that in Bolivia?" He's like, "No, it's here."
Yeah.
Go. So that was the first sign that like I'm being called to go. Then I'm at the retreat center doing ayahuasca, and a couple comes, and they had just come from Rainbow Mountain. They're like, "You got to go to Rainbow Mountain." And I was like, "Oh my god, I feel like I'm being called to go." So I start calling these tour guides. I called like 3 different tour guides. Everybody's full. And then my shaman had a friend who does the tour, and he's like, "My friend has one spot." I was like, "That's mine. Give it to me." I was like, "I'm just gonna go," because clearly I go. The second I get off the bus at the top of that mountain, a man comes to me. He's like, "Hey, where are you from?" and speaks to me in English. And I'm surprised because I hadn't heard English in the whole week. And this man is now my husband. And now I live in Peru and I'm married to him. And it's insane. Everything. We found love in a day. And it was everything I had been praying for, everything that I wanted and needed, the support, the team, the relationship that I wanted, like everything. And it just all manifested. And it's so funny because when we met, I thought I was moving to Florida. Like I had already
You were talking about
house.
Fort Myers, right? Yeah.
Fort Myers.
Was it an Airbnb that you had set up or something that you were planning on doing like a long rental?
It was like a house, and it might be an Airbnb, but it was like a house of one of my yoga students because I had a studio in Jersey. She came in and she's like, "I just moved here from Fort Myers." Like, "That's funny, I want to move there." And then she connected with her mom because her mom had this house, and we lined it up that I would move there July of last year, 2022. And it's funny how the universe even aligned that, right? And it's like, "You think you want this?" And then I come to Peru and everything changed. So no, I did not go to Fort Myers. I moved to Peru last March. So a little over a year now I've been here, which is crazy, and
And
it's everything
it's
though.
really wild because that was your Uranus line. So your Uranus line is
Yes.
all about like unconventional things happening, like the
Mm,
unexpected.
yeah.
Yeah, your life was like turned upside down
And
from the
literally,
beginning.
because even in the tower, Uranus rules the
Hmm.
tower card, and the tower is all about
Right.
this like huge destruction that takes place in your life to rebuild it the right way, the way you actually want it to be. And I felt like that's what happened. Like everything, it's like I was still trying to hold it together because when we met, I was pretty fresh off of a broken engagement, like for
Yeah.
about 3.5 months after my broken engagement. And I had healed from it because this is the work that I do with my clients, but I didn't realize like even the environment, the location, like the country, all those things that I thought were still gonna be the same, even though I lost that relationship, like all of it came crashing down. I was like, nope, none of this is coming where you're going. And it's a whole new life. I think the only thing that remained is me and my dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
From the whole experience. It was wild, but it's been
And I
everything.
met you in person right before you left, right?
Yes, you came to my last
And
moon ritual. I have that picture of
yeah.
all of us.
But you weren't planning on closing the studio, right? Before you left. You were just heading out for your training.
So I was like unsure of what to do with the studio. I was like,
Mhm.
I wanted to let it go because I didn't really want to have anything to hold on to left in Jersey. But as I was transitioning, two of my students were like, we'd love to take it from you and continue doing this work. So I was like, perfect. So I was going to hand it off to them. And on the day that I was going to go hand off the lease and everything, do the change, they actually asked me if I could stay on as a partner because they love me and my energy and what I brought to the space, how I created that space. When I first got in there, it looked like a 1970 like library. And I gutted
Right.
it and I made it what it was. So I nurtured it to become what it is, and they invited me to stay. So it still exists. It's called Rise and Flow Yoga Studio in Fort New Jersey. It's a beautiful place, and yeah, I do still have it. I do still have it. It's over there.
Amazing. Amazing. So
Yeah.
how did you get into the work that you do as a manifestation coach? I know that you were working with tarot. So how did that journey?
Oh my God. I think it started with yoga. It all started with yoga. About 10 years ago, I went to my first yoga class, and it was the first time I came home to myself. Like I got on the mat for the first time, I flowed, and I had never felt that level of peace and connection and alignment. And I loved it. I was like addicted to that feeling. So I would show up to yoga every day, sometimes twice a day. And then that slowly led into doing my yoga teacher training and becoming a yoga teacher. And at the time, I was working at a big public accounting firm doing audit work, working like 80 hours a week. I hated it. You have no idea how bad I hated it. I would have anxiety all day, every day. I would sweat in my sleep from the anxiety. It was so bad. And I ended up leaving that job and going to another job. And that was my last job in corporate America. And that one was a little better for me, but it still wasn't my purpose. But that one gave me more flexibility to be able to teach yoga more like right after work, and I had more time. I also started diving into tarot. Tarot is like,
Mhm.
I love yoga. I love it. I can't say that there's a but here. I just also love tarot so much. And I got into tarot. I think yoga got into it in 2013, got into tarot 2017, 2018. And I started, this is actually very in alignment with like my energy and human design, where I do something and people recognize me as like an expert before I recognize myself as an expert. And people started asking me for tarot readings. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I just do tarot for me. But then I started doing tarot for people, and then that evolved. And then I got into Reiki, got Reiki certified, did my initiations in Reiki. And I started doing moon rituals. Moon rituals, I think, was the start of me actually holding transformative spaces. Teaching yoga
Mm.
was holding space, but the moon rituals and really holding space for people's healing and for them to speak and share and be vulnerable, and for me to provide my wisdom and my guidance as advice. And then, the journey to leaving my day job was wild. It was like I had done some mushrooms, some magic mushrooms. And I think that really opened me up because it didn't happen while I was on the mushroom trip, but it was a little, like, I would say a week or two after the mushroom trip, that my intuition in a meditation that I was in was just like, it's time. I was like, what do you mean it's time? And it was the first time I really heard this like clear voice in my head. And it was like, it's time to go from corporate America, to go from this 9 to 5. I was like, what? Like all I do is like teach yoga a little bit and like do tarot readings. Like I cannot leave my salary. It was so scary for me.
Right.
And little by little, I actually was led to Sedona. So I'm curious what my like astral lines are in Sedona, because when I went to Sedona, I was on a hike there by myself, and it just like a download came in what I would do with the coaching, and I launched my first coaching offer. I called in 5 people. I got my 5 people. That was what I needed to be able to leave my job. I left it in July 2021, and I never looked back. It's crazy because in September of 2021, that's when my ex-fiance left me. And it was so unexpected, and I was very unprepared, right? Because at the time, like I was only covering like half of the expenses. And when he left, I had to start covering all of the expenses. And those 5 people were to get me through my half of things. So I just had to lean into the faith, trust the universe that it was all aligning and happening. And I managed to make it. I don't know how. Even every day now, every month passes, I'm like, I'm still making it as an entrepreneur, like
Right.
without a check from a boss, So it's crazy. It all
And
happened.
I'm
And then
and I'm looking back at Sedona, and you have Pluto and Moon energy there. And it's disharmonious, so it does shake things up. So it's like ungrounding energy, but also transformative. So having
yeah,
to do with the self. Hmm.
yes, yes. I loved Sedona so much because I felt like I don't know, part of me also felt like I came home to myself in that land. When I got there, I was like,
Right.
whoa, like what is this? And I felt like it opened me up in so many ways, and I got downloads that I wasn't getting in Jersey at all. And I came back to Jersey, just followed my guidance. It made no sense to me. I'm like, how am I gonna quit? Because my higher self also told me you're leaving July 16th. And it was like May. And I was still
Yeah.
teaching yoga and doing tarot. And my tarot readings were like, when you don't know your worth and you charge nothing for your work.
Hmm.
So I was doing that, and yeah, it just all came together, and it was wild because I thought, things were taking form in my life, and they were, but before they really took form, they all fell apart. It all fell apart. And that's where, like, I love the energy of the tower so much in the tarot, because it's like we don't realize that the destructive moments and things that happen to us are actually leading us to like the bigger, better, greater things that we desire, but we can't hold on. We got to let it crumble. And I think us as humans, like out of being scared and safety, we want to like cling on to what we can. And it's like, no, just let go. And that was the first time too that I had to learn to trust, to not try to hold on to anything, just keep my dogs. Like
Yeah.
as me and my dogs was all I could hold on to.
And I remember following your journey when you went to Peru. You had to come back, right? Like a few months
Yeah.
later to deal with bringing all your dogs. You have 3 dogs, right?
Yeah. I have 3 dogs, and it
Yeah.
was such a hassle. I tried to move. I came back in January, mid-January from Peru. I was trying to move mid-February, like a month later, and the universe didn't let me. And it was for a good reason. Like I didn't leave everything in the right place in Jersey. Like I still
Mm.
had my apartment. I hadn't subletted it, all these things. And the airline didn't allow the dogs to fly because it was too cold. They were like, come back in March. March 16th is the day. I come back in March. They also didn't allow them to fly because it was still too cold. So I came to Peru with one of my dogs, my little one that I could carry. My mom took my 2 other dogs. I was here for 2 weeks. I went back to Jersey in April to get my other 2 dogs, and then we were all here around now, right around now. We all got back here together. So yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so how did the move, yeah, like to Peru, like how did that all happen and
I,
manifest? Because you met this gentleman that's now your
husband.
husband. Yeah, like how did that happen?
It was so wild because I feel like he's just as crazy as I am, right? So
Right.
like, all right, we're gonna do this. We got married in less than 4 months of knowing each other. I moved in
Hmm.
like 2 months of knowing him. It was pure faith, pure trust, but the soul connection that we both felt was insane. And it was something that like this could be fun for right now, or we could hold on to this and make this something really beautiful. And that's what we decided to do. And so moving to Peru, I had never moved countries before, so I didn't know what I was doing. And trust me, a lot of learning lessons from that whole experience. But I shipped 44 boxes of my belongings, even though I got rid of more than half of everything I owned. Like I still had 44 boxes of stuff. And it was crazy. My parents, they're immigrants. My dad's from Cuba, my mom's from Ecuador, and they worked so hard to get out of their own
Hmm.
countries, to get to America, to have their children in America, for me to go right back to South
Right.
America. So my mom thought I was insane, off my rocker, but everybody saw how happy I was, and I don't think they had ever seen me that happy either. So they trusted, and they had faith, and everything worked out the way it should have, and for the reason that it was. But it was a crazy transition, and I was so ready for change. Though I really wanted to move from Jersey years prior to that. I was trying to move to Florida. Like I was like, I want to get out
Yes.
of here. I want to go south. I want warm weather, the sun. I had to go more south than Florida,
Yeah,
all the
and
way to Peru.
it makes sense that you were being called to Fort Myers, especially that area, because you have your moon node energy there,
Mm,
which is related to purpose. So I don't know if you
yeah.
felt like a calling or you discovered your purpose there, but it makes sense that you were, yeah, you're trying to make your way down there, even though you did have to go a little further south.
So that's where I did the mushroom in Fort Myers. I did the mushroom trip
uh,
that like a week later, then I got the clarity of leaving my day job. And
right.
then, I had to trust the timeline and then the answers started coming little by little. But yeah, I love Fort Myers. I love Florida in general. But Florida is also like the second home to me. I had grown up a little bit in Florida as a kid, and every year I would go for summer because I had family there. So it's funny that the universe was like, no, you need to go somewhere entirely new, entirely new.
Yeah.
So here we
And
are.
match up with was it the tower energy or the Uranus energy, right?
Uranus,
To just completely turn your life around.
so
But
wild.
yeah, but what you were mentioning about your parents like not understanding, right? Like how are you leaving the comforts of the US? Like we came here. I'm also a child of immigrant parents.
Yeah.
My family came from Guatemala. So my
Mhm.
mom is also like, "Wait, you're leaving to live in Bali and you're
Yeah.
leaving your career as an engineer?" And it's like, "Yeah, like I don't see this as my life. I know that you were hoping for, for me to have a better life and whatever they envision, but that's just it's
Right.
different, right? It's different
It's
what we're
different.
envisioning and what we're creating. So I
And
feel like
what,
we're living a parallel life
yeah,
in some way.
exact. I need to hear more about this Bali move. I just do. Like,
Yeah, well, for me, you have the Uranus energy, which is could be a little unsettling, but that was like necessary, right? To like shake
mhm,
what you needed to manifest in your life. And you're all
yes,
about manifestation, right? So it's like
yes.
you needed something to shake your life. So I needed more stability. So moon energy. So right now I'm in my
Mm.
on my moon line. And yeah, within 3 weeks of being here, I kept joking around. I'm gonna be here for 1 month, 2 months, maybe 2 years, and just joking around. But it's funny how we just throw things, out
Yes.
into the universe and it hears
Mhm.
us. And within 3 weeks, somebody's like, "Hey, there's an opportunity for you to join a company here. So you could stay for 2 years, right? To get your visa." And I'm
Wow.
like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I spoke to my partner and I'm like, of course, like do it. Like this is what you were hoping for. And I signed on to the company. I got my visa. And yeah, I'm here. I've been here for now about 8 months. So it's really
That's so
wild how
amazing.
yeah. And then a month after joining that company and getting my visa, I get onto Tinder and I find the love that I'm still with now. So we've been together for 6 months. We just celebrated our
Oh
six month
my
anniversary.
God.
So
That's
yeah,
so
that's
cute.
it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
So it's just like
Wow.
little by little, like things were just kind of like settling into place, which is it's all about moon energy and really finding
Yeah.
that settling, grounding energy. And
Wow.
yeah, moving forward, we moved in together within a few weeks, and then we were
Mhm.
looking for a house together. Like we were gonna have a hostel, but that was also just a learning opportunity, and we got out of that. But we're still together, trying to figure out, to get into some type of real estate or business. But yeah, it's just like you just never know what things will manifest, but you just
Or
trust,
what's
and
waiting for
that's
you.
what's waiting for you
Yeah.
exactly.
So I've always been of the belief, this is why I wanted to leave Jersey so badly years before I left, because, I had grown up there, had lived there my whole life. I did go to school in Massachusetts and I did live in Italy for 4 months, but for the most part, I was in Jersey. And I'm like, I feel like I've taken all the opportunity this place has for me. And I know that there's more opportunity for me in other places, but I have to go there. Like those opportunities are waiting for me there. They're not going to come here. I have to go there. So I've always loved travel for that reason, because I know every place has its magic, every place has its people and its opportunities that could align to you, but you got to go there. So, and that's how I felt with Sedona. That's how I felt when I went to Cali. And then when I came to Peru, like I knew something was waiting for me here, because I had been called to Peru for a few years. And it's funny because I had tried to come a few times, but either like on a retreat, and something would happen every time. Like the lady facilitating the retreat got sick, she couldn't do it. Then something else happened. I had tried 3 times. The third time COVID happened, and I had actually put a deposit. I was like, it's happening. I'm going to Peru. And then it
Right.
didn't. And I was just like, all right, I'll go to Peru when I'm meant to go to Peru. And when it came back up for me in December 2021, it was
Mhm.
not really like in my head to come to Peru. It was like I had a friend that was in Peru. She's like, "Oh, I just got to Peru. We're gonna do ayahuasca." I was like, "Oh, I reminded me that I really want to go to Peru." She's like, "When are you coming to Peru?" I was like, "I don't know." And then I go for a walk with my dog, literally like 20 minutes after that conversation with her, and I see this like sticker on a car, bumper sticker that's like got the Peru with the P with the swirly P. And I walk around my neighborhood a lot with my dog. And I'd never seen that car parked there nor that sticker. And I was like, I feel like that's a sign. And then I really sat with it and it all just fell into place. And like a day later, I bought the tickets. It was right around Christmas. I bought the tickets. I was heading out around New Year's. I met with you right before. and you
Yeah.
were like, yeah. And I was going to Cusco. And I remember you told me about like a lake.
Lake Titicaca. Yeah, with
Yes. And you're
yeah.
like, this area. And I think that lake was close to Rainbow Mountain, honestly, because Rainbow Mountain
Yes.
was like pretty far from Cusco. So everything just happened. And I was like, what? Like Peru? And it's just wild that like I couldn't get here till that attempt, right? Like I tried so many times prior, but that was when I was supposed to get here because that's when all those changes were supposed to
When
happen.
everything was aligned. Yeah, because yeah, it's
Exactly.
similar to my situation where in 2018 I was still an engineer. Like things were completely misaligned in my life. Like I hadn't gone down like my spiritual journey, and I came to Bali and I just was like, I don't get it. Like I don't, I wasn't drawn to staying in Bali. And it wasn't until I found astrocartography and I looked at my chart again and I'm like, there's something waiting for me there. It's my moon energy. And once I had left my job, everything was just kind of open. That's when things
Mhm.
really fell into place. So you have to be in alignment in your life to connect with that energy too, right? Things aren't just going to manifest magically, just because you go to
No.
this energy. You have to do the work, right? Just like
Yes.
it, when you work with your clients, you have to do the work before
Exactly.
things manifest.
Exactly. Yep.
So how do you work with your clients? What type of rituals, what type of things do you do with them to help them manifest?
Yes. So manifestation is something I got into a good few years ago for myself. And I was just obsessed with the journey of being my best self and achieving that like better version, better version, better version. And when, I think people saw that in me. And when I first held my first coaching container for those 5 ladies, it was private coaching. And it was all women who wanted to access that potential in themselves, that wanted to break free from the matrix, that wanted to find their purpose or find their happiness. I think that's a huge one. So many people are not fulfilled or happy with the life they're living. They're just living the life they're living, but like not really enjoying it. Like they're like accepting it. They have to show up and do what they have to do, but it's not what they want. So it was this really, it's a journey to liberation, to liberating yourself from the paradigms, the matrix, the constructs, the conditioning, everything. And so what I do, I work with tarot, I work with energy, with using Reiki. I also, when I first came to Peru for my ayahuasca, my shamans were like, "You're not a shaman," and I was like, "No, I'm just a healer." Like, no, 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 you're a shaman. Like, we need to initiate you as a shaman. So they initiated me as a shaman, so now I'm a
Wow.
shaman, and that was not part of my plan at all either. So I do a lot of work with the energy of the earth and the elements and
Hmm.
the universe, obviously. So I work with tarot. I also learned human design. I got certified in human design. I love that as a tool as well. So I use all these tools. And then when I meet with my clients, it's really the focus on, okay, where are you now? What do you not like? Where are you in resistance? Where are you in frustration? What is bringing you like dissatisfaction? And how can we start creating shifts and pivots and changes in your own life to start feeling more alignment, to start feeling more happiness and fulfillment? Like some things we can't change right away, right? Like they can just leave their job right away because
Right.
they don't have even a little side hustle going yet, or they don't even know their purpose. So I help them discover that. I help them come home to themselves in a way and seek that alignment, and they love it. So it's a lot of alignment work and truly guiding them. And I think given all my corporate experience, it does serve me, right? Because I don't think anything is for nothing. Everything happens for a
Yeah.
reason. And all of that 8 years in corporate America still served me. And I see it every call with my clients. Like what I learned, certain things, certain aspects, certain skills, and it comes through. So we do rituals. I'll do, yesterday I did a cord cutting for a client of mine that I've been working with since September. And she came to the conclusion that she's like, I think I need to do a cord cutting with this like old person from her life, right? And I have one client who loves to have private moon rituals. So I meet with her every 2 weeks for private moon rituals. So it's very unique. I use and work with all the tools as I see fit. But a lot of it is, conversation, and it's like, okay, let me look at your human design chart to help you with this. Like, how can we find some flow for you? That's the other thing too, is a lot of people are not in flow and they don't understand flow, or they think that they're stuck. And we're never stuck. We're never ever stuck. There's always flow available. We just have to find the flow. We get stuck when we keep thinking we have to do it the way we think it should be done, or the way it's expected to be done, or you want it to happen a certain way. And that's up to the universe. That's not up to you how it happens. You just need to know what you want, and that's it. Leave the rest up to the universe. The how and the when, the universe makes possible for you. But if you think it has to happen through this person or this job, or it has to come in this way, and you're in resistance, you're not finding the flow. And I remember when my ex-fiance left me and everything was crashing down, like that felt like everything really crashed down when I moved to Peru. And I was like, where's the flow here? I gotta find the flow. And the flow really came into like diving deeper into my healing, diving deeper. And it was like preparing me for last year, right? I had just started coaching in 2021. Last year, I was in full swim with the coaching, and people were in my DMs, like they wanted to work with me. And out of nowhere, people were coming, like saying things to me that like you could only dream of, right? That like, I feel so bad even talking to you. I should pay you for this conversation in the DMs. I was like, what? Like people, like they really saw my value. And I think that could have only happened from how deep I went into my healing towards the end of 2021. So the flow for me was healing at the time. And then in 2022, it became this flow of like really diving into the service of like, okay, I'm ready to serve more people. And I created a mastermind. I created so many offers last year that like don't even exist anymore. But that's part of the curiosity and the flow. Like I had flow for creating this one offer. I did it and it was done. Now there's flow for creating other offers. And it's just really following your intuition too. That's what I think is key. I also help my clients really listen to their intuition, because we're taught to be logical. We're taught to do things that make sense.
Right.
But if that was the case, I wouldn't even be in Peru, because that didn't make sense at the time, like to move from America to Peru, like who would do that? But that it wasn't about what made sense.
And even that, even like our Astrogeo session, like I do ask, like, where have you been called, right? The three places that you wanted to look at. So there is a little bit of intuition there too, because I want to know what places have been like pulling at your heartstring, right? So because there's usually some knowledge there, some wisdom behind the intuition. Yeah. So where are you being led, like for the future? What's coming up? I know you're excited to share.
I know. So we're gonna have to do another session when in the right time for this, because I feel like Bali has been calling me, oddly enough. Like I've always
Amazing.
wanted to go to see it and visit, but like more from like a work standpoint, it's been like you could live there, you could serve people there, you could hold space there. So I've been called to Bali. Also Portugal has been coming up for me as like a place to go and live, right? Because my husband and I, we love Peru, but we don't want to be here forever. We're starting some businesses here. We want to get some land, but then we want to take off and go elsewhere. So Portugal or Bali, Italy is still a top favorite. I love it so much, and I can't wait to get back there when I do. But yeah, those two, even Australia, oddly enough.
When you're in Bali, you're gonna be meeting a lot of Australians.
Yes, that's what I know. A lot of Australians move there.
Yes,
Actually, my coach is
exactly.
Australian, and she like lives in Bali, so it's funny.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So I will be seeing you in the future. So that's
You will be, because we gotta look at
no,
those.
and as a spirit, as a spiritual coach, I think Bali will hold you, and Mama Bali, I feel like holds a lot of spiritual people and healers in a really special way. So especially here, I was traveling all around Bali because it's a really big island. I was in South Bali, and now I'm back in like Central Bali. But Ubud is a very special place, with it's just very traditional and connecting back to the traditional Balinese culture. So Yeah.
I
I
love
can't wait.
that. Yeah, I gotta
Can't wait
go. I
till
do have to go.
yes.
Yeah. Oh my
So
God.
what are your offerings coming up? How can people work with you?
This is such a great question. Just as I was explaining, like the create offers in the end and all this stuff, I'm kind
Mhm.
of in the middle of a transition right now where I currently have two group programs. My Queen Embodiment program, which I don't really even talk about it that much in true projector energy. I'm a projector in human design. A lot of people
Mhm.
find out about me through word of mouth and they come into my space and then they come into my groups and I don't have to talk about it that much. But I do have my Queen Embodiment program, which is a 4-month program for really embodying your queen self. This is for women who, and it's not about love. So I think there's a lot of misconception with that one that it's love specific. It's not. We definitely talk about love in a relationship, but it's about embodying your true feminine power and energy and aligning to your flow as a feminine like being.
Mm.
So it's for aligning and becoming your queen self and manifesting from that queen energy, which is just such a next level. I've had women in there that have continued with me after the 4 months. They're like, we want to do it again. They loved it so
Yeah.
much. So it's a very high touch space. And then I have my cosmically aligned group. And this is where we work with the cosmos. So I have moon ritual. We do moon rituals every new and full moon. We have cosmic update and Q&A calls in between. And it's funny because I was actually called a couple months ago to stop promoting that space. This one was a 12-month
Mm.
space that ends in September of this year and turn it into a moon membership. So right now, like, and I haven't really even talked about it, but if anyone is interested or wants any more info, you can just DM me and you can totally get in.
Yes.
But the most exciting thing, besides like I do private coaching as well, and I offer tarot readings and human design readings, but what I'm working on and I'm so excited about. So no one knows this. So you're the first to hear this is my tarot mentorship. So I'm really being called to step into teaching tarot from that soul place because when I learned tarot, I didn't learn it from anyone. I just remembered it and it came from past lives,
Mm.
that memory and that knowing of tarot. And even when I was on ayahuasca last year, I went through a whole journey with the tarot because it was preparing me to teach tarot. So I'm working on a tarot mentorship and it's going to come with a whole course and tarot mentorship, like live calls, tarot practice, like reading practice calls, all of that. So that is not, I haven't announced it. I don't even have a date for when it's going to be out yet, but I am going to create a wait list soon and I'm going to put out. So if anyone's interested in that, you guys can just DM me as well on Instagram and get on my wait list for it. So yeah. And another
Yes.
little thing that's coming through is creating a tarot tribe. That's not the mentorship where you're learning, but that's more where you're receiving tarot guidance from me daily, weekly, per astrological signs. If you're like, card pulls for each sign. So that's something I'm gonna create. It'll be like a membership, pretty low cost to get in and get that tarot guidance. So yeah,
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
yeah.
And yeah, definitely follow Naomi. Her information is going to be in the show notes and send her a message if you're interested in any of her offerings. But thank you so much for being on today. And remember, lineage goes beyond your ancestors. You're meant to connect to the cosmos so you may finally find your cosmic family. Until next time. Thank you for listening to Cosmic Roadmap. If you would like to book a session with me to explore your own cosmic roadmap and chart your next destination in business, love, and life, then head over to cosmicroadmap.com.